Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Blight League. So I know I told you in the last build guide for this character that it was the final change. It was the final build update, okay? Well, let's call this... Let's not say that I was wrong, right? Or not. I knew that I'd improve upon it, but, like, that was the final, like, I'm happy with telling people to use that version of it. It's very solid, right? But now, let me present to you literally game-breaking stuff. Okay. So, I know in this build that probably one of my greatest things about the build... Okay, just let me explain it all. I know you're going to notice some changes immediately, okay? So... The strongest thing about the build was definitely Spirit Offering, cast when damage taken with the Desecrate. It's completely busted that when you take 500 damage, you get a 2200 ES shield because of Shaper's Touch gloves. Okay, so now this is the really interesting part. I was like, how do I automate this? So I looked up, when you look at Spirit Offering, it actually doesn't tell you that there is a cap to the amount of corpses that you can consume. You find out later that the cap is 5. Even though it doesn't say it here, the cap is 5. Okay, so you're not getting more than the Desecrate amount anyway. So when you Desecrate Spirit Offering, that's the max amount of corpses you're gonna get off of this anyways. So you can't really do anything there. Now I was like, well, the issue with the cast when damage taken setup is I have to take the damage to proc it, and I pointed out before that degens and stuff don't proc it. Chaos damage over time, Shaper Beam, etc. doesn't proc cast when damage taken. So there's a big flaw in this design, and then okay, also let's say so this technically 500 damage to get a 2200 shield. I'm gaining 2200 shield, so it's blocking an extra 1700 over the damage. And so, what's really interesting is if the attack was more than 2200, then I would still be losing HP and losing energy shield through those hits, right? And if you have multiple of them, or if you have, yeah. Anyways, there were some flaws with the cast when damage taken setup. And before, cast when damage taken was also linked to an Immortal Call level 3 with 20% quality. I took out the Immortal Call. I didn't want to, but it's not the worst thing, okay? Let me explain. So, I found out that Cyclone can be used in another way again. So, in the earlier version of the build, I used Cyclone, and I talked about how I was using it with Ball Lightning and castable channeling with greater multiple projectiles with the discipline, Watcher's Eye to get ES on hit, etc. And you had to hit monsters with the Ball Lightning to gain back the energy shield. Okay, so let me show you the new iteration of this. You take your Cyclone, you connect it to cast while channeling level 21. The reason for 21 is you get like 0.01 less second, okay? It does reduce the seconds of time in between each triggered spell. Then you trigger Desecrate and Spirit Offering, and you can have them level 20, by the way. Pretty cool. 2020, awesome. Desecrate doesn't need to be 20% quality, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it just increases damage or something, and okay. So now, let me show you what happens, or let me give you the math first of how this works. So when you Cyclone, you're going to cast while channel, you're going to trigger Desecrate Spirit Offering, so every 0.35 seconds, you're going to trigger one of these two spells. So every 0.7 seconds, you're going to trigger Spirit Offering on 5 corpses, and if you look at 448 to 2657, so I gained 2100 to 2200 ES from this buff. And that's every 0.7 seconds, so I'm gaining basically 3100 ES every second that I can tank extra on top of my 7800 HP pool. Okay. Okay. So yeah, now we just get to do this. Wee! 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 It's so dumb. I can't believe that this is possible. And so what's even funnier about this is while you're cast while channeling, cycloning with the Spirit Offering, Desecrate, you can still have the cast when damage taken trigger and create more corpses and do another spirit offering on a separate cooldown. You're bypassing cooldowns all over the place. And I even tried to look at, if you take out Cyclone and cast while channeling, how fast it is to do these by hand without using Cyclone. It's pretty slow because it's based on your cast speed, so we're even bypassing our own cast speed using this Cyclone setup. It's pretty neat. Now the other thing is, because I needed a 4-link for this, I had to take out my 4-link of the cast when damage taken, which is why I lost the Immortal Call. I didn't want to lose Immortal Call. I had to, because I needed the 4-link. The 4-link here is important because I needed Enlighten. If I want to not run an Enlighten support in this connection, I need to run, I would need to tech into this reduced mana here, and I would lose some HP from my skill tree. So, yeah. Then, now because we're using Cyclone again, it made it so that we could not use the wand. We can't use a Convoking Wand. So, I bought this Gemini Claw. The reason I bought the Gemini Claw is it's best implicits for a claw. It has the best attack speed for a claw. And then I got it with minions deal increased damage, 68% is pretty high. Auras from you, from your skills grant 2% increased damage to you and allies. That's pretty cool. And then I was able to, and it even came with attack speed. So this has 1.71 base attack speed with 26% quality. Crazy claw. It was pretty cheap too. It was like an X. I crafted lightning damage onto this, okay? You could craft either lightning or fire. It doesn't matter. Technically, lightning is better because the skeleton general from your Vaal skeletons gives you anger, and so technically, you're weakening the anger buff on your skeletons when you flame dash or use fire damage as your elemental equilibrium. It's not a lot of damage that you're mitigating, but I'm just saying it does make that anger from the general worse. Okay, so lightning damage is technically better than fire if you had a choice. Like, if we had a lightning dash instead of a flame dash, yeah, we'd be using that. Just saying. Okay. So, yeah, I took out Immortal Call. Now it's just cast when damage taken with a level 7 Desecrate and a level 8 Spirit Offering. And then the funny thing is, yeah, we lose Immortal Call. So now our Bone Armor is 100% up, meaning, like, it won't be randomly taken on cooldown because of our cast when damage taken. So now when we need to tank a big hit, not only do we have the 2600 ES, the 7800 HP, we can also add a 2209 damage buff that takes 70% of the damage from the hit before life and energy shield. Also, it takes away bleeding, which also affects our minions, and it is duration buffed by skill duration from our tree when we took, like, Mistress of Sacrifice, and if we took these nodes, they offer skill duration. But so the same thing that increases the skill effect duration of our you see how it has skill effect duration and the minion duration? Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we get increased duration on that. So we had to switch to a claw because of the Cyclone. I wanted to switch to Cyclone because we technically took out stun immunity, and it's the best way in the game to do this Desecrate Spirit Offering thing. It's the fastest way, and it's 100% uptime, and the reason why I think this is better than Ball Lightning, the discipline thing, this does not require you to hit monsters. It does not require you to be near monsters. It does not require anything. It's 100% up all the time. And I tried, okay, so then I tried another thing. There's another channeling skill that we could use. It's called Incinerate. So Incinerate is a fire spell that you stand still and you shoot a, like, flame breath in front of you, okay? You're like a dragon breathing fire. And so the problem with it is you can't move. You can spin around and, like, shoot the fire around, and it would apply your elemental equilibrium for fire, and it'll buff up your other stuff. Yeah, sure. But you can't move. So it's literally just a worse version of Cyclone. And I don't know why we would use it. So now, with using the claw and not using there's a lot to explain here. In not using the Convoking Wand anymore, we don't have the 242 int requirement. Hey, look at that, we're not using 242 int anymore. So finally I did a test to see how, well, first I got, what was it? Let me start like this. Once I realized about this Cyclone thing, I bought this shield. Okay, so this shield, I was looking for life, strength, chaos res, and then anything bonus was good. And then the implicit was either going to be resist or life, and I preferred life, so I was very happy to find a life one. Now, let me put it like this. I was looking for this base, like just life, chaos res, and strength, right? And I found this, and it was listed an hour ago, and it was 20C. I buy it immediately. I don't even think, like, I don't hesitate. This is ridiculous. This is insane. So I looked it up, and it's like 3 to 6x, and so, yeah, we have a really good shield now. Yep. So it's really, really good. We got a lot of chaos res that we didn't have from the shield, so now this allows us to get better things on other parts of our build, like our belt. We have increased attributes from the belt, so that allows us to get some dex and int and strength from the belt, which we only had 35 strength on before. This is better. The boots, I got 30 strength, 33 dex, life, move speed, res, very good boots, solid, cost me an X. This also was an X or something. Like, these items weren't very expensive. And then this, after I had all the other options in the build already figured out, this was the last thing I looked at. I took out the, what was the old one? What's it called? Astromantis? Yeah. I took out the Astromantis, and I had an amulet with 12% increased attributes and 16 dex or something, and I put it on, and it gave me enough dex to not need the Astromantis. And I was like, wait, just 12% increased attributes and 16 dex? That's so fucking easy. So that's what I looked for with life, and then I found this, and it came with an extra open prefix, it came with the extra strength, it came with block spell damage, chance to block spell damage, and mana. I was like, dude, this is just solid, like all around, a solid amulet. And it was only like an X, and then I crafted the extra maximum energy shield. There's not really many good prefixes to craft here, and then I attuned it with the Anoint. This was a silver oil, crimson oil, and a clear oil to get the Allocates Death Attunement. Allocates Death Attunement is the one that gives you the extra Spectre, Raise Zombie, and Skeleton. I would also like to point out on an amulet, you could get +1 Zombie, but then I wouldn't be able to get the increased attributes because there's none that exist. There were none that had 16 dex, 12% increased attributes, the life, and a zombie. You can't get +1 zombie with all that. So, literally didn't exist. Maybe it's just impossible to roll them together. I don't know, but you could get it as as one that was corrupted that didn't have that you wouldn't be able to anoint. You can't anoint corrupted items, so yep, it's funny that he's asking me about the claw. This keeps happening. Stop looking at my build before I make the video, please. Please, man. Please. I'm trying to make videos and just give you update. Let me make the video and update you guys. Jesus. Okay. Why'd you switch? Yeah. So the overall reason we switched because of the Cyclone, and then I went through and finally was able to replace the Astromantis. Okay, so now let me point out how much better this is. So the Astromantis was attributes, attributes, attributes. That's it. This gives you those attributes, except for the intelligence, and then you get the bonus life, the bonus spell block, the bonus maximum energy shield. This is insane, man. This is great. So we go to 122 dex now. We figured out our issues, and I'm still oh, this is very interesting, by the way. So in the past, on the previous version with trigger a socketed spell in the wand, we were the uptime on your Purifying Flame Desecrate Spirit Offering was pretty bad, and and you would only be able to use it when you were actually dealing with something that was staying alive for longer than a couple seconds. You'd get it off cooldown and be able to Purifying Flame again, or you'd have to Flame Dash to Elemental Equilibrium. Now let me show you this. You see what's going on here, where it's wherever my mouse is, it's Desecrating and Spirit Offering. Every 0.7 seconds it's doing both. This is okay, so each time you activate Desecrate, it will trigger the vulnerability because it hits. Desecrate does damage, and it counts as a spell hit, and it's going to apply a vulnerability. So the uptime on your curse now is 100%. It's amazing. It's insane. That feels really good. Like, really good having that up all the time. And then because I crafted lightning damage on the claw, that means I believe I get lightning damage on the Cyclone. So this will... Ah, what the fuck? I have cold damage to attacks. Where is that? I have to change this. I didn't even notice. Well, good thing I looked. Good thing I looked. Basically, what it says here is cold damage. That's bad. Oh, no, I was weakening cold with this. Lightning and cold. What? I don't know how that works. Okay, well, you wanted to do lightning so you can weaken lightning and buff up cold, fire, and the other ones. And that was the point there. I have to change this. Whoops. At least this was the bad ring, and I can easily replace this for like 20C probably. So, yeah. That's the explanation for how I proc my elemental equilibrium now. You can also still use Flame Dash. The Desecrate's great at applying the vulnerability. You could also just hit them with the Cyclone. Like, it's so much more fluid. Okay, so now, as people have given me feedback, I should never talk about any changes in the build without showcasing them. So let me do all the stuff for a map. So this is what I do for mapping right now for leveling. We're also, to update you, we're at level 98, 42%. It takes forever. If you look at the numbers here, it's 169 million to level up. And I told you that I did those maps earlier, and they're like 1 million, 2 million, 1 million, and it's like literally it takes hours to level up unless you do pure breachstones, and it's expensive. Okay. And like I believe I have a friend, yeah, I have a friend got my friends list who charges 1x per 8 runs of breachstones. Anyways, so I sextant up my white maps around the burial because they're white and it's cheaper than the other sextants. Then I keep everything that adds extra pack size, and then I'll pick my map based on the stuff. So I save unidentified corrupted maps for when I get the special unidentified sextant roll that gives me 30% increased quantity. And then other than that, yeah. So this one, you get Chaos Res, Ellie Res, Frenzy, Poison, Cannot Be Stunned. Sure, dude. Let's get our fragments. Let's put this in Nico for some extra sulfur. Let's do a juicy map, actually. Let's do one of the juicy ones that we save for a video. Like, I mean, I save it and I will use it for this video. So this will reduce the damage. We could do it with cannot regen to show that I can do it with cannot regen, but it would take away my 500 regen. We'll do this one, 118%, screw it. What's the pack size? 38? That's huge. Okay, so we're going to do an Atlas mission through Nico, and we're going to get tons of sulfite. So we have 13 zombies now. If you want a 14th one, you either have to level up the gem once through like an Empower, or you have to get a global level somehow to the raised zombie. Not sure how you're going to do that, but a little bit laggy. Let me fix this. I can fix this. Give me a second. Okay, and now if I look, yep, you can see the lag spike's gone. Okay, so the gameplay, spin around if you want to. You don't really need to a lot because we're so overpowered, but you'll notice that our ES doesn't drop. We'll just keep getting it back, and even if they do hit us, we'll just keep. You can see how fast the Spirit Offering procs, and then the gameplay feels so great because we're just cycloning around it. It's the smooth gameplay of a Cyclone character in a Necromancer without the requirement of actually aiming like things to heal. You can literally do the Spirit Offering wherever you want, have your mouse wherever you want. It doesn't matter. It's amazing, feels great. This is gonna get nerfed almost 100%. Like, I don't know how this would remain in the game. And like, you can increase this even more with getting more life or more increased energy shield mods on armor. So someone was actually pointing out, they're like, oh dude, your Shaper's Touch are so useless in this build now, since you took out the ES and you're building evasion on your character instead of getting ES and all this. And I'm just like, mate, do you know that it doubles Spirit Offering? It's absolutely broken. So There's that. And then, yeah, we'll need to change out that ring so it doesn't have cold damage to attacks. I didn't worry about the cold damage to attacks before this because obviously the cold damage to attacks would only matter if I was using Cyclone, and I haven't been using Cyclone for like weeks. So they're copying me. I don't know if I was supposed to reply in this video to people. I'm trying to do a video. I think I should have went Do Not Disturb again. I fucked up. It's too late though. We were mostly through the video, and I'm not gonna Do Not Disturb now. But the character, as I pointed out, feels really smooth, and I'll also show we're up to 620 delving. I don't want to show it right now because there is a chance to die at 600 delving if I'm not if I do anything wrong. I could die, and I don't want to die and lose my experience for a video. I'll show you what I've been doing, which is tier 16 mapping, which is great fun with this character because it's literally unkillable if you're cycloning and shit now. You could tank everything. It's kind of funny. I'm curious where people take this to. Like, I show this and then they take it even further with like weird ES stacking. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. But this is so stupid that this is in the game. I can't believe it, dude. You can even, so you can see when the vulnerability happens because it puts the thing above their head. You see the mark? And as soon as I cyclone them, they're getting it too. Maybe it was my Cyclone actually, not even the Desecrate. I don't know. Oh, it is. Never mind. It's the Cyclone. I'm applying it on him. It's not Desecrate. Someone's gonna comment that now. Whoops. I just assumed because I was always on top of things and everything was getting vulnerability that the Desecrate was doing it, but never mind. So yeah, we have another way of proccing our curse though. More higher uptime now. It's pretty fun, pretty good, and you can tell it's so smooth. Our health, our ES pool never dropped the entire time. We never took any damage in the entire map, and this was an 118% map. Pretty juicy. So yeah, I made all these changes. This is another version of the build that I think is better. Wow, that like spike. That's better. What the fuck is happening, man? That's better than my old version. And might even be cheaper, but you have to worry about specific stats a lot more, and it was a lot easier to make the other build, I think. And this one took a lot more effort to think because it's a lot more min-maxing with the exact numbers on things, where like I needed exactly 16 dex and exactly 12% increased attributes, so then I didn't get very much choice on the amulet of what I actually could choose on the extra stuff, and like how I have to get all this I don't know. Either way, that's everything. Again, I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters. We have 2 Patreon supporters for now. Let me show you. White Wolf and Tridenex. If you want your name at the end of the video as well in the color, then you can also support me on Patreon. You can also support me through YouTube memberships. It's similar to Patreon, but on YouTube. And appreciate all who can support and can't support, just for watching my videos, for commenting, liking. Love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.